Top 5 transfer QBs who need to have an instant impact. You know, this is one I could kind of say for any time. If I'd have known Jeff Hafley was going to leave, it would have been nice to know that yesterday so that I could have done a BC replacements one. But I'm out for the next couple days and kind of spotty on Friday, so maybe you won't get to that one before they hire a coach. But here we go. Top 5 transfer QBs who need to have an instant impact. Number 5, Dequan at Baylor. Look, this is a dude who's got to save a coach's job, really, and it's a tall order. It's no secret that Dave Aranda is kind of been, kind of put on notice with when you change your offensive coordinator, when you start taking over the plays, when you change your transfer strategy. This is someone who needs to perk back up the program here. I think he's an excellent choice to try and do so. We just don't know much about how it's all going to work, but he does need to have an instant impact because, again, one, he only has 1 year left of eligibility, but just in the bigger picture impact, it's about keeping the program on the track with the same head coach and not having to go to another coaching search.
Yeah, that had to be part of the decision-making that you do know that he's going to be, again, at a program that there's a lot of pressure on his shoulders, but it sounded like when we had him on the show that was something he was looking forward to.
Yeah, I mean, they need everybody on the team to matter. I mean, he's not going to do it by himself, but he's certainly going to be the one helping lead the way. So, I mean, if their defense doesn't get better, then, I mean, unless he's having a Heisman-type season, it's still not going to probably add up in the long run to many wins for them. But he's got some good skill guys around him. Got a lot of changes, though, to deal with, and maybe change isn't a bad thing in this case. But, Dave Aranda definitely needs a bit of a step forward this season because you can't really explain away 3 straight years is what it would be if they falter again this season of losing football. I don't care when you won the Big 12 title. I don't care when you won the Sugar Bowl. You've dropped down 2 levels the past 2 years, and you can't afford to do it a third time.
Number 4, Will Howard. Not someone who I think is saving someone's job, but if Will Howard can go out and beat Michigan and do well and get Ohio State in good position in the playoff and maybe win the Big Ten, it's going to save Ryan Day a lot of headache because another loss to Michigan, even if they do get in the playoff, say they don't go far in the playoff, they may lose in the first round or whatever, he's not going to get fired, but it's going to be a headache for him and it's going to make things more difficult because – again, Ohio State fans care about, one thing more than all, and that's being better than Michigan. Michigan's the reigning national champion. That's going to hang over his head, even though their coach is gone. That's going to hang over his head until he does something about it. And Will Howard is the guy brought in to accentuate the talent that's around him. They return a ton of people, and then they brought in, they probably have the most bang for your buck in the transfer portal. I did that top 5 last week. But Will Howard at Ohio State, there's high expectations for him to get it right and improve on what was an 11-1 season for Kyle McCord last year with new teams coming in and probably a harder schedule for Ohio State than it was a year ago. Number 3, DJ Uiagalelei at FSU. Mike Norvell has proven that you can build something back and build it back in a relatively short amount of time. But all those guys that he built back, I mean, Michigan, FSU, Bama, Georgia are going to be the teams most cleared out by the NFL draft this year. And all those guys are going to the NFL draft, including Jordan Travis, who, of course, the entire season hinged on a lot of different degrees. And DJU has been a good but not great quarterback in college football. And I don't know if he needs to be great at FSU, but he needs to be slightly better than he's been. And we'll see if Mike Norvell and the staff can get that out of him. I'm not totally sure. I'm confident that there's enough around him. The offensive line mostly coming back. They've done well in the portal. They've got good young skill players. But he does for FSU, especially with the way that they've kind of whipped it out on the table in front of everybody, when it comes to the bigger picture of the ACC and college football. They need to have 2 good years in a row. They don't need to be a one-off, even if it's not going to be 13-0 in the regular season again. They need to at least match that success a little bit and follow it up with another pretty darn good season.
Yeah, another quarterback, another player on his 3rd school, which has become the average now, I feel like, across college football. So, yeah, I feel like that's what we mention every time now. It's not even like 2-time transfers. It's 3-time transfers most of the time. But, yeah, I mean, he had a really nice year last year. Obviously, not with the same head coach or with the same players, but I would think even with some really good guys like Silas Bolden and Damian Martinez and those types in Corvallis last year, he's getting a step up with the talent and Tallahassee. So that should bode well. Norvell's a really good coach. And, yeah, I mean, everybody needs their starting quarterback to play well and put some pressure on their shoulders. But, yeah, as far as Florida State trying to continue walking the walk with all of their talking, then, yeah, he's going to be a major focal point because we saw how important that position was to them and the entire storyline of the 2023 season with FSU.
Number 2, Riley Leonard at Notre Dame had ankle surgery, and he's going to miss at least the rest of winter and probably a good chunk of spring football. We know he's going to be the starter at Notre Dame. That's what he's been brought in to do. This is a quarterback that, even though he wasn't playing in the most NFL-like offense that people have NFL comps to, and a lot of the scouts think he can be an NFL quarterback. But for Notre Dame, the transfer market kind of worked out. It just was what it was with Sam Hartman. He was good, but not great. But if they really want to take the next step, get back in the college football playoff and re-stamp themselves as a legit team to worry about in college football, Riley Leonard, it's probably about time that one of these transfer quarterbacks pays off in that regard for them. And Riley Leonard could be that guy, but A, they got to keep him healthy, and B, they can't kind of falter in the bigger games like they did last year. So we'll see. But Riley Leonard has a lot of that pressure for Marcus Freeman, as he just kind of is doing one-and-done quarterbacks for a while. I do think that this should enable him to bridge to a recruit, but we'll see. But Riley Leonard, a lot of pressure in a pressure-packed place in South Bend.
I don't know what it's going to be like across the country, but it's one thing to miss 14 playoffs, it's another thing to miss 12-team playoffs. Mm-hmm. So I don't know how often you're going to be afforded that if you're Marcus Freeman in a job like that. So that'll be something interesting to start following along with next year with the 12-team playoff, and you not making it is a different type of a story than you not making it these last few years or ever before, really, in the NCAA's college football history. But he's a really nice player. Would love to have seen what Duke would have done if he had been able to stay healthy, and maybe we don't even have the big mess at the end that we ended up having. Maybe they jump up and beat FSU, and then it's not even a controversy at the end. But it happened. It was unfortunate. Elko's obviously gone, and so I'm sure that even at Elko State, it would have been a battle with a school like Notre Dame pursuing you. But, yeah, that's a really good get for the Irish, and we'll see if he can take them back to the promised land.
And number 1, Cam Ward at the U. Of all the programs I've listed here, including like Baylor, it's been a long time for Notre Dame's been to 2 national champion or playoff and championship games. They lost to Alabama. They got drilled by Clemson in the Cotton Bowl. But that was a playoff game. Like, Brian Kelly got them close. I mean, they were knocking on the door with Brian Kelly a couple times. Ohio State obviously in the mix. FSU was in the mix this year. But no one's been Baylor has been in the mix a lot more than Miami has over the last 20 years. They've been in the desert. The fans are clamoring for someone to make it exciting. And the biggest reason they've been in the desert is they have had, between Ken Dorsey and now, just a long line of forgettable quarterbacks. And it's kind of surprising that the place that used to be QBU, when, back to back was Jim Kelly, Bernie Kosar, and Vinny Testaverde. I mean, I'm not even getting into some of the other stuff. The Heisman Trophy winners, the wins that they had, they just have not had that in the longest amount of time. And Cam Ward is the most exciting player to take that spot. Mario Cristobal has been given some time to build this program back, but it will help him a lot in building it back if Cam Ward can shoot some adrenaline into this program, because especially over the time that Mario Cristobal's been there, they've just been moribund on offense.
He's a good player. They need a spark. Perhaps he brings them that spark.
Yeah, he's definitely an upgrade over Tyler Van Dyke's performance, here recently, and obviously he's off to the transfer portal in different pastures as well. But Cam's a great player. Excited to see what he can do in a bigger spot and a bigger spotlight. All due respect to Wazoo, but Miami's a bigger place and a bigger spotlight on you when it comes to the college football world. So he'll be front and center with some of those battles in the ACC next season and have a great platform to show the rest of the country who maybe wasn't watching Pac-12 After Dark all that often or certainly weren't following Incarnate Word a few years ago, what kind of a talent he is. And I'm excited for him to have that opportunity as a Texas guy and to keep doing what he's been doing. I think will definitely put Miami back on the track that they're expecting to be on and hope to be on with Mario Cristobal.
Man, we tried to go around as many different